Hello everyone, it's your boy Rage, and in today's video I will be talking about and discussing why Bleach is Lightspeed. It shouldn't be a question at this point, but I digress. Now before I get into the video, I'd like it if you could leave a like and subscribe. It helps with my channel and getting my video out there. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy this video. This video so far is the hardest I've ever researched for a video. I've looked at every post on Reddit, every Comic Vine thread, every Quora thread, every Twitter thread, legit anything I could find that people use to put Bleach below Lightspeed. Most of the threads I've seen or read are massively biased. I mean, I'm not surprised, but they would say something like, oh, Bleach can't be Lightspeed because X, Y, and Z. Then say base Luffy or base Naruto speed blitz and one-shot the verse. And I'm reading this like, huh? But whatever. Now, I don't know really where to start. So let's look at the very first Lightspeed feat, or one of the bigger ones pulled off at the beginning of the story, and go from there. Ichigo blocks a Cero from a Menos Grande. Now, early in the series at this point in time, Menos Grande are like played up to be meant for like the Royal Guard or captains at this time. Keep in mind this was at the beginning of the story. Later on, they seem to be relatively weak when compared to hollows at a higher level. Now let's talk about Ceros for a minute. Many people seem to be under the belief that Ceros only emit light and isn't made of light. Well, the thing about this is that in a Bleach data book, it states that it's made of spiritual light. Now, since the data book says it's made up of spiritual light, people will go on and say, well, it's spiritual light and not real light, therefore it can't move at light speed. Now these same people who claim this will go on and say that Bleach later on in its high tiers are only lightning level because people like Candace can hit Ichigo or Kenpachi when she uses the lightning. If you don't know what I'm trying to say, basically they're downplaying the Cero for not being light because the databook says it's spiritual light, but they say Candace's lightning is actual lightning because it looks like it. Now, I'm not sure if they watch the show or read the manga, but everything in the anime or the manga, whatever you prefer, is made up of spiritual energy, Ryatsu, spiritual pressure, whatever you want to call it. It's all spiritual. So just because it's lightning doesn't mean it's just lightning. It's more than that. The stronger you are, the stronger and faster your attacks are, as long with your abilities. We see this multiple times throughout the series. In the anime, when Shunsui sees Stark's Cero for the first time, he says it's bigger and faster than other espadas that he's heard about. I'll bring up Candace again later on, but let's say for whatever reason, you don't think the Menos Grande Cero was Lightspeed. Well, we have another Lightspeed feat in the next arc. Aizen and his crew are rescued by the Negacion. This would also be Lightspeed. It's even hyped up by the Captain General Yamamoto. He calls it light, and the lieutenants were able to dodge it. Now what I've seen people do to downplay this was by saying this is also spiritual light. Now this doesn't mean it's slower than light. It just that it's spiritual light, which the Menos can amp the speed of with their own spiritual pressure or spiritual energy. People like to use a data book text describing Ichigo in his battle with Byakuya. Now the problem about this is that it says Ichigo is like lightning, but also says that he has godlike speeds. Now this is obviously a hyperbolic statement. It even says he has the fastest Bankai, which I guess you could probably say is true at the time, but he doesn't have godlike speed when someone like Yamamoto exists, And why would he have godlike speed when Aizen, who one shot and was easily able to stop Ichigo, is trying to become a god? Let's talk about Arrancar and Cero. Now when talking about them, we have to look at it two ways, the manga and the anime. If we use the manga, Arrancar and Cero blatantly dodged light. People like to say the rubble blocked it, but the position of the rubble and where it's falling is completely different from where Arrancar and Cero was standing. The rubble doesn't cover the light from the position of Arrancar and Cero. Keep in mind, Arrancar and Cero was right in front of Rukia. We see where Rukia is standing compared to the hole. Now the anime, on the other hand, basically shows Arrancar and Cero gets hit by light but dodges it at the same time. Now people could use this to justify that Bleach characters at this point in the series aren't Lightspeed, but not only could this just be a poor adaptation from the manga, due to the fact we see him get hit by light again, not only is it for a shorter time, but his face starts to melt. Even if you don't want to use the poor adaptation argument, you could just say that light disables his powers. He said it himself, it does, which is why he wasn't fast enough to dodge light, but he was just fast enough to get out of the way before his face melted. I've seen people talk about Cereals being confirmed to be Lightspeed due to the fact Grimmjow's Grand Race Cero distorting the atmosphere. If you don't know why this matters to Cereals being Lightspeed, it's because light going through the atmosphere will go through a process called refraction, where basically the light is bent and becomes distorted. Let's talk about the biggest reason, or what I think is the biggest reason Bleach gets put down when it comes to speed. Gin's Bankai statement. Now, Gin is the biggest snake in the series. He fooled the guy who tricked almost all the characters in the series. And people still believe the statement he said about the clap is true. It's confirmed later on when he fights Aizen that what he said about his Bankai is a lie. People like to say, well, he wasn't lying to Ichigo. Now, why would he just lie to Aizen, then tell Ichigo the truth, risking Aizen overhearing him? It makes no sense. People justify Gin telling the truth to Ichigo by using the data book. Now in the data book, it's stated Gin's Buto technique doubles his sword speed. In his fight with Ichigo, he does tell Ichigo this. Now, the problem is that Gin lying to Ichigo about this statement is pointless when Ichigo could just be able to tell that it got faster. So even if Gin didn't say anything to Ichigo or even lied, Ichigo would have just figured it out. Another thing is, Gin is trying to hype up how fast his sword can extend, when it's not necessarily the extension, but the retraction speed that is the scariest, which is another reason why Gin would lie to Ichigo. Gin easily could have just clapped, said a high number, and told Ichigo, yeah, that clap, my sword can extend 500 times that. Now that's over, everything else that people use as points are in the 1,000-Year Blood War. Now, when they use a 1,000-Year Blood War, people are just nitpicking every little thing, or what they mostly do, just use things in the series they don't really know about. Like in the Gremmy and Kenpachi fight, people use the fact Gremmy was able to tag Kenpachi with bullets from guns. I'm not sure why people think this is a good argument when these aren't normal guns. These guns are amped by Gremmy's mind. People also use Candace to confirm that people in the 1,000-Year Blood War are lightning level because she uses lightning. But as I said before, it's not the case. But in Can't Free Your Own World, which is a novel that takes place after the Thousand Year Blood War, which is also not officially canon from my memory, and it also has inconsistent scaling. Well, anyways, this novel has a quote saying Candace lightning arrows aren't lightning speed, but a bit slower. Not only is it just a regular arrow, but it's terrible scaling. Another thing people bring up in the Thousand Year Blood War is the Oswalian Light. I hope I'm saying that right. Well, it's brought up and used to prove Ichigo isn't Lightspeed because the Oswalian Light immediately went down to the Soul Society and back up to the Royal Palace in just a few panels, when it took Ichigo at his top speed, I think it was 9 hours. Now, I don't think I have to explain travel speed and reaction speed. Just because he didn't arrive there as fast doesn't mean he's not able to react to light speed. Even characters who don't scale as high as Ichigo were able to react to it. I don't think I have to say this, but just because it's light doesn't mean it's only the speed of light. It could be faster, especially in Bleach, when everything can be amped by spiritual energy. This just means that they both are faster than light, but we just don't know the amount, or how much faster, I should say. People use Askin getting hit by lightning from Yorichi as another argument for why they are lightning speed, but I've already debunked why that's not true with the things I said about Candace. Just thought I'd mention it for those wondering. Not only that, but Shunko heavily amps a person's fighting capability, arguably higher than Bankai. The final one I saw just blew my mind. I just couldn't believe I actually can't describe to words the stupidity of this, but they said that even if Ichigo was as fast as light in the Byakuya fight, his Bankai amps his speed because his sword is small, and that Ichigo in the Thousand Year Blood War was not as fast as this Ichigo because there isn't proof that Bankai amps his speed, and Ichigo's Bankai in the Thousand Year Blood War doesn't specify giving him that crazy speed amp, and with his sword being big, he can't be that fast. Do you think you have to be a Bleach genius and know every tiny detail and meaning about Bleach to know this is obviously wrong? Not only did the person who make this come from Stupid Town, but this person doesn't understand that Ichigo not only is massively stronger at the end of the series compared to the one in the Soul Society arc, but whatever, I digress. I don't feel the need to debunk this heavily. I'm just gonna leave it at that. One more thing I forgot to mention was that Shunsui, half dead, was able to dodge light, and now was able to dodge light, and now being a person who doesn't have any battle experience. No one has ever tried to debunk this, but I thought I'd just put it in the video anyways. But that's all I was able to find that were downplaying characters in Bleach speed-wise. If you think I missed anything or overlooked something, let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear your opinion. Please leave a like and subscribe. Thank you, and have a rainy day.